Hi guys, welcome to How to Make Homemade Coconut Milk. With me, I am Tina Moenck. I had a lot of people ask about how I make my coconut milks for my soaps, but I also wanted to give some tips in here just in case you wanted to make it for drinking as well. But you need hot water, not boiling, and you need twice as much water as you do the flakes. And I use low temperature dehydrated organic coconut flakes that are unsweetened. And I buy mine from Radiant Life. I really like their products. They are really good, and I've used them for quite a few years. But you basically just need your water really hot, and you're going to be using, like I said, twice as much water to flakes. So here I'm using 8 cups of hot water to 4 cups of flakes. And basically all you're going to do is just put the flakes in the hot water and let it sit for 20 to 30 minutes. And all you're doing is just softening up the flakes, and it's really, really simple and easy, and I wanted to show you how easy this was to do. And I make all of my milks for my soaps. I make hemp milk, and I've done almond milk. And hemp milk is probably the quickest because you don't have to let it sit. You just throw the whole hemp seeds into the water and then blend and then strain. Now, like almond milks, you're going to have to let those sit for 24 to 48 hours. You're going to let the almonds sit in the water to release the phytic acid, and you're also going to need to soften them before you blend them. So this is kind of in the middle, and I absolutely love coconut milk and coconut oils and all of that, and they're in a lot of my soaps. But after you let the coconut flakes sit for 20 to 30 minutes, all you're going to do is pour the whole thing, all the water and the flakes and everything into the blender. And you're going to blend for 2 to 3 minutes until it's really nice and creamy, and then you're going to just strain it. And what I use here is a fine mesh strainer, which I really, really like using. That way I'm not trying to like squeeze it through a bag. You can use cheesecloth or a nut milk bag if you choose. I just prefer to use the strainer, then I can just wash the strainer and reuse, and it's just a lot simpler for me to do it that way. But yeah, just, as always, I just show you how I do things and how I like to do things, and feel free to do this however you want to do it. But you are going to want to press the pulp to try to get as much of the milk out as possible. So if you have it in a bag or whatever, you're going to be squeezing and wringing to try to get as much of the milk out as you possibly can. But don't worry if you're doing it like I am and some of the pulp goes back into the milk, because I do a second strain just to make sure that I've got all of the pulp out. But yeah, do this however you want to do it, however it's easiest for you. And do keep in mind, though, if you are making this for drinking, that I do not recommend using distilled water like I do for soaps. And use, whatever purified spring water, whatever you want to use. Do that. And also, this is only going to last in the fridge, for 3 to 4 days. So it's work, but I think it's totally worth it, especially when you make it yourself. You know exactly what's going into it, and you don't have to worry about all the extra additives and other ingredients that you see in like coconut milks in the stores, which is why I make my own, because a lot of them have so many additives, and I don't want those going into my soaps because they will mess it up. So, but here, after the pulp squished as much of the water out as I possibly can, I'm putting the pulp on a cookie sheet, and my oven is on low. And then you can dry the pulp or use a dehydrator. But if you do in the oven, you're going to want to put it on the lowest setting and then leave it 4 to 6 hours or until it's completely dry. And then you can also put the pulp back in the blender and then grind it back up, and then you have homemade coconut flour. And you can also use some of that dried pulp to put back in your soaps if you're doing it that way, for some exfoliation if you want. So it's just completely up to you. You don't have to let the pulp go to waste. If you do want to cook with the coconut flour, though, I recommend getting some coconut flour recipes because it works a lot different than regular flour. It really absorbs stuff like crazy. So, and you really have to like the taste of coconut to use coconut flour to bake with too. But then here I'm just doing the second strain just to make sure I've got all the pulp out of there. Now keep in mind, if you do put the coconut milk in the fridge to drink it, you can add whatever additives you want to add. If you want to add a sweetener, you know, it's up to you. And just know that it will separate out in the fridge. You're going to get a layer of cream and then a layer of the coconut water underneath. So, but there's all different types of things you can use. If you want to use the cream to make something else, go for it. There's all kinds of things you can use this for. But this works really slick for me to just make it like this, and then I freeze it to add to my soaps. I've been doing the cold processed milk soaps, the coconut milk soaps, for quite a few years. I'm planning on doing a hot process video in the very near future too. But I do have a cold process video of me showing how I do the coconut milk peppermint mocha soap that I make. I think it's about a year old, but it's in there if you want to see how I use these cubes to mix in with the lye and make that soap. But it's really simple, and you just want to make sure that they're completely frozen. I let mine freeze for about 24 hours before I make the soap. And I also have to freeze some extra ice, just regular ice, so it goes underneath for an ice bath, just to make sure that the soap stays very, very cold and doesn't get hot enough to scorch the milks. There's really not a whole lot to it. You just let it soak, and then you blend it for a couple minutes, and then you strain it, and then you can do whatever you want with it after that. Like here, I really like these ice cube trays that they have like a cover that allows them the moisture to not escape, and it also keeps them spill proof too, which is really nice. So thanks so much for watching. You can please join my Facebook group, Soap Making and Business Coaching. You can follow me on Instagram at Natural Suds and More, and you can like my Facebook pages, Tina Moenck and Natural Suds and More. And my book is available at my website, and I'll put all the links below. Thank you so much. Please like and subscribe.